Albany High School opened its doors in 1974 to a sense of excitement and community pride. But that was 40 years ago, and so much has changed.
I don't think it's light enough. I don't think it's big enough. I think this building has outgrown its usefulness.
Back in 1974, when the building was built, teachers' tools basically consisted of chalkboards and overhead projectors. Today, we're into smartboards, Elmos, handheld devices, wireless networks. So we're trying to use a 40-year-old building to teach in 21st century methods.
We have a high school that was conceived of nearly 50 years ago, and it no longer meets those needs. We need a high school for the 21st century. We need a high school that sends the message to our children and to our community that we take their education seriously and that we believe in their future.
It was considered the state-of-the-art school across the country, this building that we're in right now. We need to get something together now for our children, equally as exciting, equally as advanced, but for this generation, our students deserve it and our community deserve it.
The world has changed. 40 years ago, we didn't have to worry about this. Nowadays, wherever you go through a metal detector, you go into a building where you're going to be checked, your bags are going to be checked.
As an architect, what we do in designing buildings and in assessing buildings is all about really assessing people and life and how life functions. And life back in the 70s and 60s, in the 60s when the building was designed and actually constructed in the 70s, is different. The issues that the current administration and school principal and teachers have to deal with relative to security seems to dominate everything. As you see the hall monitors move about and you see the setup, the TSA setup that occurs each and every morning.
The sight lines, different corners that we see in this building are difficult. There are areas that we can't see around a corner because of the 90-degree angles or the 90-degree turns.
We have a beautiful courtyard, which our seniors have the privilege of using, but it presents a challenge again when it comes to security measures, getting students back and forth into the building and keeping that space safe because it's very open. Anyone can walk through that space at any point in the day.
As a security staff, we are stretched thin because of the design of this building. There's no reason for us to have this much open space and this much access points from one side of the building to the other.
Right now, we do technically have two campuses that encompass Albany High School. Our Career and Technical Education program is 4 blocks away, and it's close, but I'd rather have the Career and Technical Education Center be a central part of the high school because it's a central part of the future of our students.
40 years ago, Career Tech was a separate entity. It was a place where kids went that were not headed to college. It's now become the center of the high school experience as opposed to a separate experience across the hall, across the street.
I think the Career and Technology School should be a huge focus in our building. I think it should be centrally located so that everyone can see it. Every student should be involved in those things.
My concern on a daily basis is our students, and it could be 100 to 150 crossing the road at any given time, the outside public access to our students. If we were all contained in one building, that would be one less thing that we'd have to worry about for the safety of our students.
I feel like kids would get to class on time faster and they would have more time in the classroom because when I walk to a Brooklyn, I literally have 20 minutes of class. I feel like I've lost a lot of time. So if all the classes were here, people would actually know where culinary is or nursing or car tech or video production now. Kids would be more involved, and I feel like that would be a great change.
We can't continue to have that be a separate entity and have only some students know about it because it's a physical space removed from this building. We have to really begin to tie it into our everyday instruction and make it a path that students see as viable for them when they exit high school.
Well, 3,000 students in one place, it's not problematic, but it's incredibly difficult. I can't provide a wealth of courses, opportunities, like our families are asking for with 3,000 students in one spot. 40 years ago, this building worked very well. With 3,000 kids in the direction we're headed, it's not working anymore.
One thing people always say about a large building is despite all of its wonderful offerings and opportunities, it provides a space where students get lost, so to speak, where someone doesn't know their name. And really the purpose of the smaller learning communities is to have those relationships where a student knows that there's an adult in the building or several adults in the building that are responsible for them and are their person or go-to person.
Frequently, teachers are in classrooms flung all over the building, first, second, third floor. Should a student come for help, which they do frequently, they have to track you down. It's really not easy to give extra help to students if they can't find you. In fact, it's impossible.
Our students need a smaller learning environment because they need us. They want help. They want a routine. If we had a smaller learning community and I was constantly in the same room, students would always be able to find me. The same way they'd be able to find their principal, their guidance counselor, a social worker, their social studies teacher. It would be so much easier to build a relationship with them and help them be successful.
In smaller classes particularly, you have that one-on-one time with teachers. Like for example, if we're like 9 students in a class and we're all doing work and I don't understand something, I have the confidence of actually asking the teacher in the class so that other students might also pay attention and listen and learn from that. So I think that in a small learning community, it would be much easier to approach teachers and get more out of the work.
I think some people slip between the cracks, and we hear that phrase a lot, but it's true. When there are so many kids in the school, it's really easy to get lost. When people are starting to look more for that individualized process and put kids in academies and learn their names and know them.
It allows students to be seen. It allows students to have a relationship with other adults within that small learning community. It allows for efficiencies, it allows for effectiveness, and allows for even more opportunity.
We need to do a major investment to improve the instructional environment at the secondary level. We need to do that regardless of whether we infuse major resources into the current structure or a major renovation or a totally new structure. But the majority of the cost of a major facility investment would be paid at the state level through building aid. And the way this works is when the local community invests $1, building aid will be generated that could create another $1 or $1.25. The fact that we definitely have the need, and conveniently at this time the interest rates are historically low levels, so it's a good time to invest, and we can get a lot more for our money if we do the project, in the near future.
This process is a long process for a major campus such as a high school for any community. And we are starting now in the early concepts of the development. We've gone through already a year of educational planning. I would dare say we probably will not be in this building to 2019, 2020. So this is truly a 2020 vision.
The strength of our city really depends on the strength of our schools. As go the schools, so goes the city of Albany.
I think it would be great for kids like my baby sister and stuff like that to walk into a brand new building, have a brand new experience. I guess my sister would send me a postcard or something.